G'day, we're out at Spilbury, which is part of Gingie Station or the Pye family. I'm going to introduce Harry Pye now. How you going, Harry?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe.
That's the go. Mate, I'll just let you go a bit on this. I don't want to interrupt too much, but if you could explain who you are, where we are, what made you think of a Blade Runner, and just run us through exactly what's happened here in the last sort of 6 months.
So we farm, we've got Gingie's the main property. It's 15 k's west. Spilbury's set by itself. Mainly it's cropping, but we do have a paddock we're in now is 1,200 hectares grazing. So Spilbury's 15. This one paddock here, the grazing paddock's about 1,200 hectares. We've generally just run sheep, cattle here. We haven't paid that much attention to it grazing wise. The majority of the grazing stuff's on the main block. But probably a year ago, we were trying to push dorpers through that side of the paddock across to the yards, and there's just a swath of roly-poly right through the guts of it. And they just would not go through, and we had dogs, and you had to go around this big patch of roly-poly. Anyway, then, of course, I know Joey pretty well and knew about the Blade Runners using on a cover crop sense. But then speaking to Joey and then telling him about this bloody roly-poly problem, he goes, oh no, like, this will work. So I didn't take much convincing. I rung a bloke that bought one from you in Warren.
Rod Milder.
And so he had the same problem. He had big like worse, I think, big river roly-poly. And even his cattle wouldn't go through it. And he said he hit it with a Blade Runner and then it goes, it's all gone. So anyway, so that was enough for me. So I bought 3 of these machines off Joey.
So Harry bought the formation machine. He's got a 12-metre formation. That's 3 into 1, which suited Harry down to the ground. It's a budget machine, and then he could split it apart and run them as 3 different units.
So where we're looking here, like where the scrub is, obviously the 12-metre wouldn't work. So I split them up, and I just get an old unregistered Land Cruiser, multiple Land Cruisers, and then just a couple of employees, when you've got downtime. And we were doing all this February through April of this year. It was hot. We hadn't had a break in the rain yet. I needed jobs for these blokes. And so, it was easy as that. You'd throw the old Land Cruisers on these and just make sure you blow the radiator out every morning, because they do, running through this roly-poly, it does block up the radiator. They do get a bit hot. But if you keep an eye on it, it's not too bad. Anyway, so I brought them into the paddock, showed them what roly-poly looked like, and I just towed them for...
From us. Well,
yeah, they basically just
He's done an incredible amount of country. We've just flown in here because it's too wet to access by car, which is a bit spoilt, really, but and you'll see, we'll put a shot up of what's happened in the air, but you can see the transformation. Well, you can see the line of separation between the country that hasn't been rolled yet and then the country that just have. We have been really lucky with this
rain.
With rain. I think that is pretty crucial as well. You can't just say, well, this is the Blade Runner's just done this, but you can see the difference between the country that has been done and the country that hasn't. I think it's really great to see from air too, because you can see the productivity of your country and just how much ground cover is of palatable feed is on the ground now. So,
and we'll have a look closer there, but you can, like even from here, like there's just a direct line there and you can see what it was with that roly-poly. And you're still getting your medics and clover and goat head and everything growing up in that country. But, you look at that, you've probably at least, 50, 60% of your ground cover there's roly-poly, and
it's unproductive.
You can't actually, they don't chew it. And all this area, if you pan out towards the chopper there, that was all covered in roly-poly, and we never really had any grazing here. But now flying over it, this is kind of where all the cattle, all the sheep, they all camp on this area that before they just never really touched. Mainly because they couldn't get through it. There was too much bloody roly-poly.
So I think that we'll head over and we're going to go and have a look at some of the country that hasn't been done just on the ground. And then, it's pretty easy to see from there as well, the difference that the transformation that's really taken place here in just rejuvenating the country. I don't think that the roly-poly definitely has a place in what it actually does to your country as well. It serves a purpose. It's a nitrate weed. It blasts through as nature's band-aid. It's created that cover on the country. It's a pain in the ass to get rid of, but if you can manage it correctly and get it back on the country and down and mulch it up, then it actually really will probably insulates and boosts the ability of your country to bounce back out
Well,
of.
that's why I liked it as well when we were doing this. Like it's not like you dragged a Kelly chain through or a prickle chain or something like that and took all of it off the country. Like all it did was just flatten it, kill it, and then you've got your spongy bloody layer of biomass on top of your ground. And in the middle of summer and you get a heap of rain on that, you go over to where you've blade run, it's still damp. But where it's not, it's just
holds the moisture.
There was bits over on the main property we had to stuff up with the backpacker and he went in the wrong paddock with a Kelly chain. And I was right next to where the blade runner was working and he did the one pass before we pulled him up. But yeah, we were just left with a bare paddock, like a bare run. And I took all the roly-poly off, happy days, but then it also took all the grasses, all the goat weed, just everything. But the blade runner, it just flattens it, leaves it on the paddock, creates a mulch layer, and yeah, it works well.
It's really good, really, really good results here. Pretty sport for results here because we are so close to here. So, as I said, we'll have a walk over there and we'll have a look at some of the country very quickly, what we haven't done or what Harry hasn't done, and then just pan across and show you the ground cover on what we have done. So, cheers, Harry.
Too easy.
Oh, that was awkward.